Hi, Zizaran here with another farm chat. This is basically a chat I do while I just talk to another PoE player while I'm farming. So we're on hardcore, might be a little bit distracted, but I'm joined here by Grims, who is also playing hardcore, so he might be a little distracted too. But yeah, Grims, thanks so much for joining me. Can you introduce yourself to those that aren't already familiar with you?
Sure, sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I'm that guy that played a lot of H1Z1 PUBG back in the day. I think, and Fortnite as well. That's usually how people know me. But I came from battle royales when I started streaming. I think that's where mainly a lot of people know me from. But I branched off to a lot of other games a couple years ago, full variety, and now I'm like in Path of Exile's neck of the woods, which is very challenging, but
It's very
it's been
cool
a
to
good
see you
time.
here. It's been I love that you're playing hardcore and like you don't even have that much experience with PoE 1, right?
Not really. No, I played it for a bit until my brain seized up with all the crazy complicated builds, and then I kind of stopped. And then I heard
Yeah.
Poe 2 was a little bit
It's
more
very
basic. I'm like, okay,
complicated, yeah. And for those
yeah,
that aren't familiar with me from Grim's audience, I'm a Path of Exile streamer, have like 26,000 hours in PoE. I also play a lot of Tarkov, which I know Grims likes.
yeah, dark. Those were the good old days. Good old
Yeah.
Tarkov days.
Yeah, I haven't played it much since they like started implementing Arena so much, but
Right.
it
It's
is what it is.
changed.
It's so different. I just want people to lose their stuff. That's why I play.
Yeah, yeah. It was great. Like back in I want to say like 2017, like end of 2017.
Oh, I
It
didn't
was
even
like a
play
very
then.
special time. Oh, oh well, I mean that was kind of like when everyone was jumping on and it was a fun
Yeah.
time.
I
It was
started
it was
very
definitely fun.
late. Pestily taught me how to play the game in like 2019, 2020, something like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think that's how I met you. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we met through Tarkov.
I
That's
yeah,
good.
oh, we definitely met through Tarko. I think we played
Mm.
Yumi and Sakisha or something.
Yeah, yeah. That's when your hair was like multiple different colors. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
mostly just blue. It's always blue, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't know. Like dyeing your hair as a dude is weird. Like I get treated very differently at airports. I've never had a random security check until I dyed my hair blue. Every
Really?
single time I've been with blue hair, by the way. Every single time I flew. It's really weird.
That is weird. I wonder why, but
I don't
huh.
know. I think like if I have blue hair, it just looks like I'm carrying drugs or something. I don't know.
Either that or you're like a fan of Ninja, like one of the two, I guess.
I know. And the worst thing is I did it first.
You
Ah,
did it first.
oh
Oh,
no. And everybody called me Ninja. I actually, no joke, at a meet and greet at TwitchCon, like the NA ones that didn't have a high age limit, I had like, I saw that there was like multiple like 13, 14-year-olds in the queue. And I was like, oh no. And like, as soon as they saw my face, they left, except one kid. He came up to me and I was like, you don't play PoE, do you? And he just shook his head. He was just too shy to leave. And I was like, oh my God, these kids thought I was a ninja. I actually had people stop me too and be like, oh, never mind.
oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, we don't even look alike. It's crazy. But yeah, blue hair, I guess. So,
So,
what prompted starting hardcore in such a challenging game? I'd love to hear more about that.
actually, the game I was playing before this was World of Warcraft Hardcore.
Yeah, yeah.
So that challenge kind of like I don't know. I for some reason I just love it. Like I think maybe because I'm like an old school gamer, so I really like that harsh difficulty setting on a game. I
Yeah.
feel like it kind of helps me appreciate everything in the game, like everything. So right out of World of Warcraft Hardcore into Path of Exile, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to do the same thing, but here. And so
It,
that
it is a
eh,
similar vibe.
it is, it is. This one, I feel like Po 2 is kind of roguelike with like the, you know, how like the shared stashes and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
like every time I
agree.
die, yeah, it like death doesn't hurt too much in this game.
I mean, it depends when you die because if you're able to like hit some of the breakpoints, like, obviously like getting to tier 2 support gems is pretty big, tier 3 even bigger because there's no level requirement on those. So I found
Mm.
that was like a very big one. And even just like active skill gems because you can over level. I'm a little surprised right now that there's no being able to combine like 3 level 3 skill gems for 1 level 4, I think that would help a lot, especially in hardcore. But obviously they're not that focused on hardcore right now.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, I died earlier today
Oh no,
at like level 33,
that's really far.
and it was and I gambled for a weapon, and
Yeah.
I got a unique quarterstaff for my monk, and I died about 10 minutes right after that.
Oh, it was cursed.
I was cursed. Yeah.
So what build are you playing now, and how far are you?
Well, before I died, I did a warrior monk hybrid, which
Yeah.
is actually the thing that got me the furthest out of anything. Now I'm doing sorceress monk. So I'm trying to
Oh,
like experiment with that.
that sounds deadly. How's your defense?
Yeah, my defense. Well, I mainly go like armor and energy shield as much as possible. I've been, let's see, I got a lot of elemental resistances. Well, let me see. I like 39% fire, 34 cold. But I'm trying to like change them around compared to like the areas I go to. So right now I have like a lot of fire. Because I just got done killing. I forgot the names of the bosses, but the one boss in Act 2 that likes to throw a lot of like dynamite.
Yeah, there's like the one girl with the flamethrower that like she can
Yeah,
one shot you with fire damage, and then you have the Bala right after.
yeah. Yeah, but Bala's like all poison, right? I think.
It's poison. And is there fire? I can't remember. Maybe there's no fire. Maybe there's just poison. I can't remember now. I have really bad
Yeah,
memory.
she's scary. I've almost died to her a couple times, but yeah, I'm trying to like change it around because it seems like some areas are like super lightning based and fire based and stuff. It seems to like change around a lot.
Yeah, it does like a decent job at letting you know, I think, of like what you're coming up against.
Yeah.
Um, so what level were you now?
Right now I am 20. I just got to 20.
That's
Well,
pretty
actually, no,
good
not.
considering you died earlier.
Yeah. I'm actually halfway through 20. Halfway. So I've been kind of like trying to speed run through this and get back to where I am.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good
Where I
thing with
was.
hardcore. You like master the acts because you have to run through them so much.
Yeah, yep, 100%. Um, I mean, I don't know if this is like just maybe I'm just a masochist. I have no idea, but like these type of challenges are always fun to me.
I mean, it's most of the PoE1 hardcore players, even the ones that are like hardcore only, are
Mm,
avoiding PoE2 right now because it is so imbalanced. So there's
mm,
very likely that we're gonna get a balance patch, especially on chaos damage,
mm.
because people are dying even in tier 1 maps with 6,000 life.
Jeez,
Um, so there's like a few chaos things that just one shot you,
that's
depending on what
crazy.
they are. So like there are a few things that are like you really, really like. I've never in Path of Exile been like looking at every rare so much, and I'm like, do you have anything chaos related? Please go away.
Yeah.
And I
Oh
actually
wow.
stayed in the campaign for a very long time until I think I went with 48 chaos rest before I started doing tier 1 maps.
Dang. That's kind of crazy. I don't really notice a lot of chaos resistance. I mean I never gone past Act 2. Is it like a thing in like Act 3?
No, everywhere. Like there are a few rare mods like extra chaos damage, the purple crystal things, which by the way, they're pretty easy to dodge, but if you don't dodge them or you get slowed into them, it's just game over. They actually killed one of
Yeah.
my characters even though I had like some chaos res. Um
Okay.
Essence of Ruin killed one of my characters because I got slowed and it does that. If you remember the first plant boss in like the second area or third area that has like a
Mhm.
slam with 2 like purple plants, does that.
Right.
And I got slowed so I couldn't get
Oh.
out of it. And I was like, okay, here I go. Over again.
Oh, that's
Uh,
interesting. Wow. I didn't even realize. Okay. I remember seeing like the slow purple projectiles that follow. I'm just like, I'm not gonna mess with that. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna mess with it. It looks like it can one shot me. So I never got hit by any of them.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
good to know.
those do a lot of damage too. And like, I just now found, um, I can link you actually. What's your character name? And I can link you something.
uh my character name is Sunwoo Grims 5 with the word 5. 3 M's in the Grims.
Ha, found it first try. So like
Nice.
at the end game, you get like some things like that, which will probably help a little bit with survival at least. as long as you don't get one shot. So I'm just like, it's a struggle out here. I'm just trying to survive. It's
Oh, fully recover your life, man, and energy shield. Real? Is this like a one-time thing?
yes, it's a consumable. So
What?
if you reach 35% life, it like boom up to full, which obviously very very nice for a lot of things. It's incredibly strong. We didn't even have anything that strong in PoE1.
That's
So
crazy. Where'd you get that?
so that's from Ritual. I don't know if you can get it early,
Okay.
but I just got one. I just got a second one now that was a lot worse. Wait, I don't
What?
even know where that went. Yeah, the other one is fully recover your flask and charm charges when you reach low life, which is not as strong.
Yeah, that's
Um,
okay.
yeah, it's just like a decent thing. I'd use that if I didn't have anything else, but this one's nutty. That like this will definitely save me if I'm like trapped.
Yeah, I kind of
Um,
wish I had that about like 4 hours earlier.
yeah. So yeah, how have you been fighting like the gearing, the itemization, stuff like that?
Well, it took me a while to like adapt to it
Mhm.
because I'm so used to other games where like if you get through a dungeon, you kill something really hard to kill, you get like a pretty good upgrade right off the bat. Like I'm just getting used to the whole like, oh, open a couple of rare chests, kill a crazy boss, you get like 2 blues and some gold. You know,
Yeah.
like okay, but I kind of understand like it's all about like making your own stuff, or at least that's kind of what it feels like to me, where you have to like save up all your orbs, like what is it, like farm for like those slot the gem slot materials, like pretty much like I think that's how I think it is, or it's supposed to be, like
Well,
you have to.
so in PoE1, it is all about crafting your own loot from scratch, and like we have like
Mhm.
scourings and stuff, so you can, if you don't like what you've crafted, you can just start over on the same base. You basically just find one base and craft with loads of currency on that. In
Okay.
PoE1, they are going for that, like you're supposed to find multiple bases, and it's a little bit less about crafting.
Okay.
Um, so I don't know. It is definitely like they're aiming for it, especially with, I don't know if you've encountered tiered items yet.
Uh, tiered items.
So I don't know if they can even drop during the campaign. It might be a map only thing, but like you can
Uh,
eventually get a blue or a rare item, and it'll say like tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, or tier 5. And the way
oh,
they
okay.
work is there are some things that you can't even roll, like worse rolls, like thorns or
Mhm.
maybe like low level life regen won't even be rollable on that. So on average, like you won't
Oh.
necessarily get stats that make sense or match up, but it might
Mhm.
not be like the bad rolls. So then it'll be even more
Oh.
likely they will find a good item. Now, I haven't found that many of those, so I don't know if it's like in a good place. And
Mhm.
I'm kind of like waiting a little bit with giving a lot of feedback. I'm like starting to make like a feedback sheet now, but I'm trying to adjust, like not be completely PoE1 brained.
Right, right. Well, I hope I make it that far at some point.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if you take it slow, over level, I don't know like like how much you're over leveling and stuff right now, but even for like, I stayed in Dreadnought to level 37.
That's a. Oh, you know what? That's how I died. Like I cleared out Dreadnought pretty early, and
Yeah,
I'm like, nah, I don't feel good about that. Maybe I should restart it. And I restarted it, and I wasn't ready for like the crazy new pack of enemies, because like they re-roll every time we reset, right? Like you get like different like mini bosses with like different ailments, right? It's like always random, I think.
it's always random, yeah.
Yeah.
Dreadnought is a very scary zone. It's just that it's the highest one in that zone. So I try to just be
Mhm.
very careful because like they have so many like leaping monsters. So
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
died my first hardcore character. I got to like level 20, 28, 20, no, 38, 36, something like that. And that was before the loot buff. So like I
Oh.
had very little gear. I had like 10 all rest, something like that. It was a bit frustrating.
Okay.
But I died to the lightning scarabs with like that, like, yeah, it's like a ninth wonder of Keth or something around there.
You
Um,
mean did they surround you and blow up on you?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
had that too.
yeah, exactly what happened. So that's for my first character, and I was actually over leveling there. But I think I would
Oh.
have died in the Dreadnought later anyway, because I continued playing on softcore then. I kind of like didn't feel ready for hardcore.
Mm.
Um, And then I died in Dreadnought again right after, so I was like, well, I would have died there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And
That place
then,
is tough.
yeah, it is. I was very happy that at least on day one I continued on softcore because that was before all the loot buffs.
Mm.
And I made it to maps with 7% lightning res while actively trying really hard to gear.
Mm.
So then when I got to maps, I was just getting one shot by everything.
It's
It was
crazy.
yeah, it was an experience. But like now I think at least hardcore and like low tier maps are very fun. So I think you'll get there. I think you'll get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely learned a hard lesson earlier today. Like, I've been trying to go with my gut as much as I can with this game, with like what might seem a little too dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's been working for the most part. Um, but man, that it's really like Dreadnought was my problem. Like I would get surrounded too hard, and
Yep.
it felt like I was like, just fighting in a closet, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%. There's a lot of that for these zones. And like I'm a
Mm.
minion summoner, so my minions get stuck a lot. It's a bit frustrating
Oh,
sometimes.
really?
Yeah.
Do they help? Do they help like block off most of the incoming enemies like on the tiny bridge though?
They do now that I've like sort of adapted to that. So now I'm using like the minion send hotkey to like send them ahead
Mm,
of me. Uh,
that's cool.
yeah, and it's a lot of that too. So I was really curious because you're very new to the PoE universe, and I was very curious to like, do you feel PoE 2 is more intuitive than PoE 1?
Um, more intuitive. Man, I want to say it's kind of want to say less, but then I don't know if it's fair to say that because it's like early access, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like, well, like intuitive to what sense? Like intuitive to like
Like in
more
in
newer players?
PoE, yeah. So in PoE 1, it's what I've heard, and I was talking to Mtashed about this. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a Destiny player, and he quit PoE 1 really fast because he felt it was super overwhelming. He didn't feel like he could really play the game without following a build guide, or
Mm.
like it was very unintuitive on how to make a build. Whereas
Oh,
he
right.
felt that was a lot better in PoE 2, and that it was like it made more sense. So I was wondering if you had a similar experience, or yeah, how do you feel
Yeah,
about like making a build?
I agree. In that case, yeah, it's way more intuitive. It's easy for me to follow, easy for me to experiment with it. It's very forgiving in case I want to like, in case I mess up and putting a gem slot in one particular skill that like I get to check to see if what works and what doesn't,
Yeah,
and it's just great not to feel like you're overly committing to one build and you can't go back on it. So yeah, that's one of the parts that really did it for me in this game.
that's cool.
Um, yeah.
That's nice. I mean, that's also like part of why I wanted to have you on, because like a lot of the PoE 1 streamers are gonna have very similar takes on things, because they're like, it's not how I'm like used to it. I don't like it. Whereas you're like more of a blank slate there for sure.
Mm.
Very curious to hear how do you feel about like runes not being replaceable on gear, for example.
Runes not being that is actually interesting. I might have a different opinion about this because I never played this game on softcore. I've only started on hardcore, and I've been playing hardcore ever since. So usually, whenever the way that I feel that runes are, sometimes it feels like it's a little, how should I say? It feels a little unforgiving.
Yeah.
But then whenever I put runes on like a level 10 item, like a level 15 item, and then I find something to replace it, then it makes me feel so good knowing that I have a backup item in case I die, and I still have the runes on that. Where so like the investment it goes a long way because I know I'm gonna die
Right.
again and again. So I feel like it's definitely like a 50-50, like but for me personally, I think it adds more to the fun because I kind of treat it like a roguelike. So the past armor that already has gem slotted, I could just use it again when I die.
Yeah, I see that aspect. I don't even think most people want it to be like removable. I just think most people want it to be replaceable, like if you make a
Mm-hmm.
mistake or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah, oh
that's a
yeah.
fun perspective that I hadn't even thought of. Yeah,
I mean, I think it'd be cool to have like a little prompt to say, "Are you sure you want to put this in this
right.
slot?" Like a little,
Like you
like
cannot
cautionary.
get this back out.
Right. I think that would just solve everyone's issue, right? Maybe.
I don't know. It feels very permanent. Does feel very
Yeah.
permanent.
True. True.
Man, I almost found a good glove. It's so like I wish I had more chaos orbs because sometimes there's just like one stat off, but chaos
Oh
orbs are
yeah.
rare.
Yeah, I've gone lucky finding a few. I've gotten very lucky. You know, Zizaran, every single time I see you pop in or like reach out to me, I don't know if there's like the Hispanic in me that says, but I always say Zizadian every time.
Ah, no, it's Zizaran.
Yeah, but I always say Zizadian. I don't know why. It's just like every time. It's
That's
hard for me to
funny.
say it. I don't know why,
Oh,
man.
that's all
Maybe
good.
maybe it's just like a special thing that I can have just with your, just me to have that with your name, just Zizadian,
You can
you
have
know?
that. I like it. I
Okay,
like it.
sweet. Hell yeah.
How do you come up with your name?
How to come up with my name?
Yeah, Crims.
I was a huge fan of Twisted Metal. Have you ever played that?
No, never heard of it. Is it a game?
Oh yeah, it's a really old like PlayStation game where it's like you get into like a car and it's like Destruction Derby but with like missiles and guns and stuff.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
fun.
and it's like heavily themed like characters too. There's like a clown named Sweet Tooth, and there's like a goth entity named like Darkside, and there's a Grim Reaper character that rides a motorcycle that's named Mr. Grimm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was
I've
my
never
favorite
even heard of
character.
that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get a lot of like callbacks for people that hear the word twisted metal. People are like,
Yeah, a
"Oh, I
lot of
used to
people
play
in
that."
chat were like based game, good taste, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So the reason why I picked Grim was because not only he was literally like a Grim Reaper riding a motorcycle, but his stats were like high damage, high speed, but low defense, which is kind of
ah,
like how I play my games. Like, I always play very aggressively, but I die a lot.
yeah. I like one of my favorite things about your stream is like you generally have a survival counter at your stream. I love that.
Yeah, just to troll a little bit, but honestly, it does have some truth to like some of these games that I play. So especially this one. So
Yeah, no, I like it. Do I remember? Did you play V Rising with that as well in hardcore? I can't remember.
V Rising Hardcore. I only played it just like on servers.
Right, right,
I don't
right.
know if
Okay.
hardcore is like online or anything. Is it?
Oh, I think maybe people just have to delete their worlds. I can't remember.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I only
I
played it in
remember
just
watching a
servers.
few games you played, so
V Rising was great. That
I
game is
really enjoyed
such a
that
banger of a
game.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I kind of like that's why I was very on the fence with WSD and PoE. But
Hmm.
V Rising warmed me up to it a little bit for sure, and then when I
That's
got to try
cool.
it in PoE, it was just so good.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm honestly, if this game didn't have WSD, I'd probably be playing a different game right now.
Oh wow,
I'm
that big, wow.
uh, I'm so bad at right click movement. I'm absolutely just horrible at it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like convinced. So when they first announced it, I was like, oh no, and I thought it'd be terrible. I think it is
Hmm.
particularly for me the fact that you can cast abilities while moving a little bit made it just feel right. It felt good.
Hmm. What makes you like right click, or what made you really enjoy right click movement?
Oh, it's just habit. It's just habit. But
Oh,
it's also
okay, just
left
have
click
it.
movement. Um, yeah, no, I'm very like it can take me time to adapt to stuff for sure. So I'm really trying that with PoE 2. So like I people kept asking me like, do you have any feedback? And I'm like, I'm trying not to be too PoE one brain. So I like waited a little
Hmm.
bit with my first impressions, and there were a lot of things I didn't like on day one.
Hmm.
But I was like, maybe I'm just being a bitch. Maybe this is just pure skill issue.
Hmm.
So yeah, I waited with that, and now that we're like 8 days in, I think I don't even remember how long we are in right now.
I
But
think it's
now,
about like 8 days. Yeah.
yeah, now I'm going to make like a. These are the things that I think would benefit the game to change.
Okay.
Um, Now that I've given it more of a proper try, but honestly, like I'm very happy to just like I'm very excited to see like where GDD takes this. They haven't
Hmm.
really steered us wrong with like the game so far. So
Yeah, I haven't really followed like the they're like patterns of like balancing this, like the first game and all that stuff. But from what I hear from like an outside perspective, it always seems like it's been like a positive type of thing. So
Yeah, it is surprisingly mixed. There are a lot of people that like the number one pain point that I'm seeing from people is the respec costs. People really
oh,
dislike that because they have been like fairly heavy-handed with a lot of nerfs where some builds have sort of been very dead. So a lot of people lost their builds. And if you, let's say you just had a gambling session or something and they're just like, yeah, sorry, your build's gone. The answer is just
oh,
make a new character. And for slower players where the campaign is like 2 or 3 days, maybe more, that kind of sucks. So I see that. I do think they should consider making respec costs a bit cheaper since it is early access.
hmm I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. But I think they just want people to get used to a fairly expensive respec cost so that you can't just respec willy-nilly and your choices should matter. So I kind of see both sides there, but it's still early
Mhm.
access.
Yeah, I never had to like respec an entire build, but
Yeah.
now that I think about it, if I ever got to that point, that would suck with how much money I have.
Yeah. It is mostly like the full build respecs that are very painful. Like right now, I'm vendoring the majority of the things I'm finding just to get gold because I have
Right.
been gambling a lot. But right now, I'm trying to hold off on gambling, make sure I have enough for a full respec because I'm gonna go energy shield instead of mana. I'm using like the mind over matter keystone, so that's like does that my mana covers my life, which is nice for defense.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's been really good for leveling, but I think energy shield would just be a lot better. I just need good enough
Mhm.
resistances. It's been a lot harder to resist cap in this version. A lot harder.
Mhm. What about the do you tend to you ever use the flasks that take it's like the flasks that literally eat up either your mana or health every time you use it. I hear it's
Ah,
like a noob strap or something.
I hate them. I think it's like very easy to yeah, like get trapped, like accidentally
Mm.
uh either remove your health or your mana, and your mana once it's out can be really hard to recover, especially like I'm playing minor matter builds, right? So if I get surrounded and my mana's out, I have no counterplay other than to like log out or respawn a checkpoint.
Yeah,
So it's
I
that
see.
that
I
can be
see.
rough for sure.
Okay, I asked that because like it looked kind of interesting, but I don't think I can. I think I would just end up
Yeah.
like just killing off my character if I did that.
It's very easy to do that. At the moment, I don't care too much about my prefix. I would, especially on life flask, I would love the instant one, like the instant recovery. Honestly, maybe I would even like that on my mana flask now that I am using mind over matter for the shield there. But
Mhm.
at least on the suffix, I've gone for like the gains charges per second. I really like
Mhm.
that. It's not necessarily good in fast boss fights, but like I do a lot of expedition at the moment. It's a end game mechanic, and one of the things that can happen there is monsters you kill don't give any charges. So
Oh,
with the charges gain per second, then I feel like most of the time I'm gonna have charges.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
This
it's
sounds
nice.
like a really far off level build from my from where I am. That must be like a
Honestly,
high level
I
build.
I think you'll be there a lot before you expect. Because I
Mm-hmm.
think you have a good approach for hardcore from what I've seen so far. Like you're pretty tactical and you like take your time. You're not. I don't think you're rushing into it as much as you think from what I've seen. How many deaths are you
Okay.
on actually?
Oh gosh. Let me think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like I think right under 10. I think
Wow,
just under 10.
that's badass though.
Oh, thank
Like
you.
that's very cool. Like there's so few PoE1 streamers that play hardcore there that are playing hardcore here.
Okay, okay.
I,
Yeah. Heck yeah.
yeah, I've actually been saying like you have to be insane right now to play hardcore, even though I'm doing it too. But like very few streamers.
Okay, okay. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, you should. This is like even hitting those levels is like very respectable. Very respectable.
Heck
Like
yeah.
I would just say like over level more, man. It doesn't help as much as in PoE1, but it makes a big difference. Once you start getting like a big damage wheel or defense wheel, I feel like you notice it.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Have you seen the beetle farm yet?
I actually, one of my viewers told me about that just recently. But I don't know the full details of it.
So it's that like big golden scarab, and honestly, this might get nerfed. Um, but it's that big golden scarab, and as long as you like, it has a checkpoint next to it, and it doesn't respawn normally. But if you destroy a corpse, the rares always respawn. So you just have
Oh,
like a level 1 unearth, you destroy the corpse, and then boom, new beetle, and you're just farming that.
really?
Yeah, it's like Pindle skin runs or Mephisto runs in Diablo 2, just really fast.
Okay, cool, cool. I'm gonna do that then. I'm gonna try to do that when I get there.
It is really nice. Like I wouldn't do it on softcore because in softcore I would just rush to maps, and in maps that like maps are pretty rewarding, especially with
Right.
expedition. But on hardcore, it's so difficult. You might need like a little bit over farm.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, the beetle. I just killed what's her name? Balbara just now?
Bala,
Balbara?
yeah, it's very hard.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was sweating a little bit there because I was
Oh, you were
trying
doing
my
that mid
best.
like while we were talking. That's awesome.
Yeah, literally just did it. So
Ah, congratulations, dude.
thank you, thank you. I hear that the beetle farm can be a bit dangerous, so it can be a little rippy.
It can be. I would definitely make sure you have lightning res there, and yeah. I died. Did I die mid talk? I think I died while listening to one of Kriparian's videos because I was a bit distracted, and I hadn't really gotten into like the mindset of hovering over every single rare and realizing how
Oh,
extremely important that is. So you
yeah.
know those like purple crystals that spawn under you?
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just obliterated me while I was talking, and I was like, oh no. So now I'm like hover overing everything.
Dang. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
It's
get you.
just very
That's one of my
scary.
personal issues. Like just my own my own vision. Like anytime I get swarmed by something, since I don't recognize what
Yeah.
enemies do, I always assume if I stand here for half of a second, something underneath my feet is gonna explode, but I can't see anything, so I always have to keep moving.
I'm doing the same thing, and in PV1 I had a really bad habit of like if something drops I just run over and loot it. Now if I kill a
Mm.
rare, I wait like I count to 3 in my head and I'm like, okay, now it's sort of safe to loot.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
It's terrifying. Like I've seen so many people die to like on death effects.
Hmm.
So at the moment while I'm doing really long streams, if I'm like kind of too tired to play on my main, I've been starting like a new character. So I have like energy shield sorceress that I'm working on,
Hmm.
and oh my god, I have no idea how I'm gonna finish the campaign on hardcore.
Oh man, is it's really that hard?
It's like I actually have really nice gear from my other characters. I have the
Yeah.
I can't remember. It's like Ghost Wraith or something. It's a chest that converts half of your life to energy shield and adds a lot of energy shield. So I'm like
Wow.
I'm level 22, I think, and I have like 1,000 energy shield already. But it's so scary
Holy.
because it's really hard to recover mid boss fight. So there's a few boss fights where I've like always almost had to leave and be like, I have no way to recover here. But I've managed to pull through everything so far, and that's
Hmm.
mostly just because of like I have so much damage. I have like a really nice like +2 wand with like 90 damage or something.
Hmm.
It's crazy. So I'm like killing bosses and freezing them very fast. Like I don't know how much you've tried freeze yet. Like any
What did you mention about the freeze? Sorry, the
Like I
last
don't
thing
know
you
how
said.
much you've tried anything about like freezing or cold damage.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I've actually had a couple of my monk runs. Like I use Glacial Cascade. That's like my bread and butter right now.
Yeah.
And I remember getting up to there was like another version of Glacial Cascade where you jump back and it's like a much wider area.
Mm.
I I liked using that one, and I tried to buff it up with like more freeze gems,
Yeah.
as well with like going on the skill tree and building a more freeze build up. That helped me a lot um when I was like on my fourth run.
That's very cool.
And yeah, like because in this hardcore run, it's like the one thing I've seen is like some of these monsters they just they rush you at like
Oh yeah.
like 7
So
freaking Mach 8.
that is actually a very big complaint from PoE1 players on Reddit.
Mhm.
Because they're like we get that you want like the game to be slower and stuff, and like with more combos, but we have like 5 second combos, and the mobs are rushing us like PoE1 mobs. Like, what gives? So a lot of
Yeah.
people are frustrated by that. Like, maybe slow down the monsters a little bit. Like, Breach is cracked in the end
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. Like that's one of the reasons why I like building towards a lot of freeze, just so I can manage them. I can
Yeah.
do everything else.
Yeah, I was very, very surprised. I thought Freeze would have to sort of like fill that bar to freeze, but then I started playing a freeze torque, and I'll right click like my ice shards on a monster and it'll sometimes instantly freeze it. And I'm like, oh, this is great.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I'm like perma freezing everything. So that's been pretty fun. Um, but obviously, like freeze does not like stun the mobs like
Right.
through the bar as much.
Right.
It's just very, very frozen still. So that's fun. Um,
Yeah.
what's been your favorite thing that you played so far?
Like favorite class?
Yeah, like favorite build, favorite class.
Um, well, so far the monk has been my most favorite. I
Hmm.
think the monk's abilities have been like the most fun and pretty much like the easiest to use for me. Um, combined with the monk bell, that's one of my favorite things, like the Tempest bell. So what I like to do is I like to build as much elemental as possible. So every time I play monk, I always have ice, lightning, and I try to put fire in there as much as I can.
Hmm. That's
And
smart.
then what I try to do, I have shockwave totems. So I'll put one shockwave totem between me and like whatever's rushing at me, and then I'll start using glacial cascade. So I'll be slowing enemies down, and some of them will get aggro to the totem.
Yeah.
So that's like one of my ways of clearing out enemies. Sometime and that gives me plenty of opportunities to do like collect charges, like killing palm.
Yeah.
So uh, I can just do that over and over again, and then that kind of helps me for the next wave. So the next wave, I can either just do a quick falling thunder, clear them out, and then do it rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And I like to use the bell for like emergencies. So like rare monsters that have like crazy stuff like mana siphoning or like fire trail or whatever, or just
The
main
fire
bosses.
trail was very scary for my energy shield character.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah. No,
It's too scary.
that's really nice. That sounds very tactical. Shockwave totem was also what I was using on my first character. Had a pretty good time with that.
Yeah, it's been kind of like a must because since everyone moves so fast, like the totem, I like how the totem blocks them and it
Yeah,
gets aggro. It's just so great.
100%. No, I think that is generally like why I survived for so long. I had like I think I had three or four totems. And I scaled with like I basically just had a weapon with like plus skill gems because it doesn't scale off your weapon, which I found a little
Ah,
odd. In PoE1 it does scale with your weapon, so um
interesting. Oh,
yeah.
the totem, right?
Yeah, shockwave totem. And the you get an
Yeah.
ancestor totem later. But yeah, it was pretty
Oh,
fun.
okay.
It's
Do
also
you think
oh sorry, go
yeah.
on.
Oh no, I was gonna say, do you think they'll ever change the totem to make it like based on weapon damage?
I don't because oh, sorry. In PoE1 they had so many issues with that and balancing it and scaling it. So I think this is
Mhm.
extremely intentional. I would be
Okay.
surprised to see a change. Um a-
Okay.
and there are fun ways to scale it still in PoE2. Like what I
Mm.
was trying to do on my warrior was there's a node in the bottom left called Giant's Blood, which you can dual
Mm.
wield maces, like 200 maces. And
Yeah.
then you try to find like a low base so that it has like, very low strength requirement, but you find it in the end game. It's just pretty rare to find a low level base in the end game, but that's the strat. And then you end up having like, again, right? Like you don't need to hit with it yourself. So it doesn't matter that it has super low physical damage, but you
Mm.
could actually get up to +6 or +7 skill levels. So if you get two +7s with like let's say they have 20
Ooh.
strength requirement, super easy to wear them, but you get +14 skill levels. So suddenly you're like insane damage.
That I didn't know it worked that way. So they just both stack with each other. It's insane.
Yeah. It's just really tricky to find. Like I actually really want to play this character and redo it in hardcore.
Hmm.
Um, but it's hard to find that on a early game base because they have a mechanic where the further you are in the game, it sort of starts culling the low level items so that you're not getting like for a lot of builds those items will be useless.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Does when you mentioned that, does that have any effect on like regal orbs and exalted orbs? Because I find them all the time in Act 1, but I never do in Act 2.
So, I feel like that too. I also feel like I get way more currency in Act 1. I was joking, like, man, I should just start making new characters and running them through Act 1. Because I'm so little in Act 2 unless I do the beetle farm. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
balanced around the beetle. I don't know. Because it's like, a lot of people have been saying, oh, this needs to be fixed, this needs to be changed. But it's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
been there since launch, and they've nerfed a lot of things by now. So, it might
Yeah,
get
yeah.
nerfed, but I don't know. They definitely know about it because they were in my chat while I was doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's I love farms like that. It's fun.
I haven't done it yet. I haven't done it yet. Because I'm usually like, yeah, I'm not really too used to like this type of genre of game. So like I'm always
Yeah.
like moving forward, always.
Yeah.
But I never take the time to just like farm grind anything.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
I
mean,
should.
you definitely should in this. I would actually love to see you and Sakisha play together. I can't has he tried PoE2 yet or is he still in the WoW grind?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Not honestly, do not know. Yeah,
He
but
did one run
hard.
apparently. Okay, cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hardcore
That's nice.
has just been super fun. So it's been such a great time.
Yeah. I actually right before this I was playing WoW as well in the OnlyFans. That was so
Oh,
fun.
what level are you?
So me and Steel Mage played really hard the first 2 days and we got to level 37.
Uh-huh.
And then we died to double like we both of us died to one disconnect and we got like
Oh,
super disheartened. We were like, maybe not.
oh, I feel that. Like it's hard not to feel just like get the motivation stripped away after something like that happening.
Yeah, it's just especially while releveling, there was another disconnect. I didn't die to that one, but I'm like, okay. Now I'm like, if it happens that regularly, and I saw a few other people die to one, I was like, I don't have it in me when going that hard
Hmm.
to just die to a disconnect.
Yeah, yeah, that is rough. I got lucky. I got to level 40 on my hunter,
Yeah.
and I paused for this game. So,
All right. So you're still alive then.
yeah. Yeah, I'm still alive. I haven't died yet. Like I do plan on going back and try to finish off the leveling, but this game took up a lot of my time. So I was actually
Yeah.
supposed to play today because I died earlier. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna go play. But let me try this one thing with Monk real quick, and now I'm level 20 plus.
Yeah, it's really funny to me that you're playing Monk because people have been like, "Are you gonna play a Monk?" And I'm like, "I have no idea how I'm getting through the campaign on a Monk. I have no idea." So I've actually been putting off Monk, because I think it's so hard. It just looks really squishy. So mad props on that being what you play. I love that.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. It does help mixing it up with a warrior. That's right. I found these unique gloves, and I don't know if you found this before, but the unique gloves that consider your strength attributes to everything else. So if you put it on a warrior,
Oh.
like 40 strength, and now you can use quarter staffs, you can use like monk abilities and all that stuff. Like you don't need the attributes for like those skill gems. You need the attributes for support gems, but not for the skill gems. So you can actually like put those babies on early game and you can just be whatever you want, like combined with the warrior. So that is what got me the furthest.
That's so cool. No, I haven't seen
Yeah.
those. I like a lot of PoE streamers were like very min-maxy and like looking up all the info they could. I've
Mm.
like barely looked at anything. Like my first build even, I sort of just planned it on the go. So it's been a very
Mm.
different experience for me. The only thing that I looked at a lot was ascendancies because you can't change your ascendancy like you can in PoE
Yeah.
1. So that was I was like, okay, I wanna know what every ascendancy is. That was an important thing to me, but everything else I
That's
was like, you know
cool.
what? I'll learn it. There's like no need to fully min max this game from start. I'm gonna be playing this so much.
Yeah.
So that's been a fun experience for me. It's been very different.
That's cool. Yeah, I did the same. I didn't see any of the Ascension stuff, but yeah, I've just been making the build. I mean, like the game, I feel like we mentioned this earlier, but like it has been very lenient. on like making my own build. It's
Yeah.
been like very friendly, so thank goodness. I've
Yeah.
been having more fun that way.
No, I think that is a good thing. I do like that a lot. I don't know, it's just very refreshing to play. I don't know, have you played any other ARPGs like this at all, or?
Well, I have played my very first ARPG that I ever played was, or like actually like really get like a grip on, was Diablo 2 remastered.
Right.
And then it was Hades,
Oh, hey, this
and
is fun.
then yeah, and then Diablo 4. That's when I got a taste of like what it was like to do like hardcore like
Yeah.
in an ARPG game. I played a druid. I got up to like level 70 and then I kind of got burnt out.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was actually I think no, before that I played Path of Exile. And that's
Okay.
when my brain kind of like melted. But I think that prepped me for D4 and then after D4, Path of Exile 2.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely happens, I think. It can just be very overwhelming.
Indeed, indeed.
It's
I don't know how you guys do it, man. I
I
don't know how you guys
mean,
do it.
a lot of hours. It's all about the
Shoot.
hours.
I wish I could have like the brain cell capacity as you guys, of just being able to like remember exactly what build you're making and tweak out everything while remembering every min max type of like thing without messing up anything or forgetting about anything. Like
I
it's
mean, it,
crazy.
it comes like with that amount of hours, it comes surprisingly easy. I think it would definitely be there for you too. Like I've seen you play Dark and Darker in loads of games, and it's I think that's always gonna be like if you're new to it yourself, everything else will seem much more magical. But once you like have the hours in, it's just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
True.
It's
True,
all
true,
about
true.
hours in the game. So like how long do you think you'll play? Are you set on getting to maps? Like I would love to have like a talk like this with like you a few weeks from now where you're like beating maps and like just shitting on everything.
Oh man, I think it depends on how painful my deaths are. Because
That's
the
fair.
one the one from earlier today was painful because I had my very first unique quarterstaff and I was like always wishing for it. I was like a little kid just wishing on my Christmas tree. I'm like, please let me have one. Just let me have one. I got it in the 10 minutes after I died. I'm like, I never want to play this stupid game ever again.
I feel that. I mean, my advice would be if you die again and you're like kind of at your rope's end, without like you don't need to look anything up, but try like a summoner. It's just it comes online very quickly and you don't necessarily need to find as much stuff. So
Mm,
like getting something like that ahead and getting to maps would make every future character so nice.
mhm.
So that would be my like advice. Like before you give up, like, I would love to see you in maps. I think that'd be super cool content.
Yeah, I like sometimes I've been contemplating like, oh, would I just play softcore and just get all the way there just to see what it's like?
Yeah, it's
I
not a
feel
bad
I feel
idea
like
either.
I definitely want to. I have this flaw that if I start a game at a certain difficulty, I can't play it anywhere else because it doesn't feel as satisfying. And that's just one of my own personal issues that
I
I
get that.
have to get over. Because like at one point, a couple days ago, I was like, you know what? I died on my monk my third time. Let's play softcore and just enjoy the rest of the game. And I did like 3 more hardcore runs. So I don't know what the heck's wrong with me.
No, I feel that. It's a little bit, it's hard for me as well. Um, I sort of like started playing hardcore in Diablo 1, which does not have a
Mm.
hardcore mode.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
and that's because I had like really, really bad ISDN internet and it would disconnect all the time. And I'd be trying to play online on the battle.net.
Oh
And
no.
what happened when you died in Diablo 1 is all your items would drop on the floor. And it was both either my PC crashed or my internet crashed so often that very often while running back to my corpse it would disconnect and then that game would close and I was like fully naked. So I
Oh, that
basically got a
sucks.
full reset. So I that's like that was my first taste of hardcore and I was like, this is kind of cool. Let's start over
Oh,
now.
nice. Did you wait? Did you have dial-up?
Yeah.
Dial-up internet?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I grew up during the days of dial-up. Yeah, that was
Yeah, I'm
definitely a
I'm
roll the dice.
I'm ancient. I'm 36.
Oh, me too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
88.
dude. Yeah, same.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. I went through every version of AOL, dude, leading up to broadband and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm from Norway, so we didn't have all those American ISPs, but that
Okay.
was
Well, I
fun.
mean, dial-up is still dial-up, you know.
It
Wait,
is, it is. Phone call comes in, everything goes down. Ugh.
yeah. Oh, by the way, is my push to talk still pushed in?
What do you mean? Now?
Oh, wait, you can still hear my voice, right?
I've been hearing you the entire time, yeah.
Okay, my mouse died, so
Oh.
a little scary, a little scary.
I see, this is like
Um,
where the pause comes in.
yeah, I just paused. Thankfully, it wasn't during a boss fight.
Oh, that's scary, yeah. Like, actually, I don't know. Oh, should I spoiler this? No, maybe not.
It's up to you. I don't care either
Okay, it's
way.
not a very big spoiler, but in the end game on pinnacle bosses, like the actual hard end game bosses, you can't pause. It's just you and the
Really?
boss. No pause.
No pause, huh?
No pause.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I kind of originally thought that's how it was going to be for this game. Like there, like no pausing. In fact, I forget that you can pause in this game.
Yeah.
Completely forget.
I've been trying to pause a decent amount. Now I think you can still leave the boss fights.
Hmm.
I think you lose the boss fight if you leave.
Really?
But I believe no one's really tested it on hardcore yet. But like so you would have to like click escape and exit a character, but there's no pause.
Hmm.
So it'd be pretty fast. Um,
I
so
find that very interesting that uh, pressing pause and exit the character to save your character is like a mechanic that people use for like hardcore. Because I'm new to that.
yeah,
I'm
I
very new
was
to that.
initially very against it. In PoE 1, it was like intentional, and the developers had a post about it that it was like that's how they've balanced it. Like you can always ult F4, and it was
Mm.
initially because of there was a lot more disconnects and stuff, so they didn't want people staying in. I'm
Oh, I
surprised
see.
that it is like this in PoE 2 because it sounded like you were going to be able to pause on bosses and that you
Mm.
could click resurrect and checkpoint to leave.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'll bring it up with them the next podcast I do because I didn't think it was gonna be like this. Like personally, I'm in favor of being able to leave bosses even on hardcore because if you can't, what ends up happening is that you over prepare so much
mm.
that you have 0% chance to fail, and that ends up being like less fun boss fights. Whereas if you can at least leave, you can go in underprepared and be like, oh, I actually have a good chance here. I'm gonna stay in, and then you die,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
like, oh, I actually do need to leave and get stronger. But if you
Mhm.
can't, you're over preparing so much that you're like, I'm one shotting this boss. That's
I totally see that perspective. Like using game pausing. I used to do that in like much older games because a
yeah,
lot of the older games they like I said before they had like unforgiving difficulty. So pausing was kind of like your best friend in some parts. And it is like it was kind of interesting, right? Because it's like you're almost kind of like it almost feels like you're breaking the boundaries of the game
yeah.
by like getting around some of the challenges, right? So like pausing was like one of them. So I could totally understand that, like as like a mechanic for hardcore.
Yeah, for me it depends on like how do the developers want you to play. So like in last epoch, the devs didn't really seem like too keen on people like logging out and stuff like that. So I wouldn't really do it there.
Mm.
But in PoE they would be like, yeah, it's fine. So then I'm fine with it. It's like how do the devs want you to play the game? That's what matters to me.
Right, right.
Then again,
I
I'm
totally agree with
farming
that.
that beetle, and I'm not sure if that's intended. So
Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough, right?
100%, yeah. Yeah, I think we'll see a lot of changes. It's like kind of weird to think of this as an early access for me because there's so much content.
Yeah, yeah. I keep forgetting that it is. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for joining me for an interview. I hope you get to maps. I would love to do like a follow-up session with you if you get to maps. So let me know how you get along, and that was super fun.
Yeah, I'll try my best. No promises though. I'll try my best.
I believe
Thanks
in
for
you.
having me, dude.
Yeah, everybody watching, that was Graham. So I'm going to link him in the description of the YouTube video when we upload to YouTube. Go follow him. Really cool dude. Plays a lot of variety. Plays with Sakisha a lot for those that know him. And yeah, thank you so much, dude.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
That was fun.